Hello everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today I just wanted to do a kind of a short fun video and talk about the Beretta 90 series. 92, 96, M9, that series of guns. And I got a collection of them here. And initially when they came out there weren't very many choices, but now the choices have kind of exploded. But this series started in 1976. They were released to the market. And in 1985, the M9, which this is an M9A3, but the original M9 was adopted by the U.S. military, which of course then increased the popularity of them in the United States with the civilian market. And they started to kind of sell, but they've gone from the original 92 that came out back in 76 to the 92F, which became the original M9. Then they've got now the 92FS, which has been out for quite a while. That's kind of been the common one you would see. They came out with the compact version that's here, and now they've got a 92X that kind of targets the competition crowd. They got one specifically for IDPA and one for USPSA, and they've also got the M9A1, then the 2, then the 3, and the current one is the 4. And there's a GTS series. So it's kind of exploded. Now you may see that Beretta's, kind of announcing that the 50th anniversary of this series. And you might think, well, the math ain't math in there. It is. They designed it in 1975, but the market release was 76. So kind of like cars, model years and stuff like that. So they're kind of on target with their 50th anniversary. But it's a gun that's been out for 50 years, roughly, with relatively little change. Some of the newer ones, the GTS series, the X series, they're optics ready. And that's been one of the things that would be difficult to accomplish without making some design changes, because as I pull the trigger, oops, got to turn the safety off. As I pull the trigger, there's a little piston there that comes up. And that's part of the drop safety mechanism. And it comes all the way up and then goes back down. That would block putting an optic on. So they had to make some changes to do that. And again, I'll point it out, it's right here. See, this kind of sticks up and comes back down. That's part of the drop safety plunger mechanism. These are drop safe. They're DASA. The safety is also a decocker. So if I were to thumb it back, the safety is a decocker. You can modify these. There's a parts kit, the G series they call it, to make it a decocker only. So in this case it's a safety. I thumbed it down, it decocked the gun, and it stays down. In the G series it would pop back up automatically, but it'd be decocked. And the interesting thing about these safeties on these is, I'm going to hold the hammer as I do this, you'll see as I start to rotate this, there's a ball and the firing pin rocks out of the way. These are very definitive safety. So in addition to the drop safety plunger, once the safety is engaged, if the hammer does fall, it's hitting solid metal, part of the safety mechanism, not even hitting the firing pin, much less making it all the way to the primer. So they're designed to be drop safe. They've been drop safe. They've got the very distinctive open front. And sometimes you'll hear doomsday stories about stuff getting caught in these and hanging them up. I've never actually heard of that. So it's kind of the very top part all the way across the slide that's totally open. This happens to be a suppressor ready one, so it's a threaded barrel. Not all of them are. This guy here is a compact version. And these started out as all full size. I mean, it's a full size, a duty weapon, a combat weapon, that's what the concept was. This particular one is 9mm. The only one that's on the table here that is 40 caliber is this 96, which I'll show you real quick. And you're going to notice it's the same gun. The only thing is it's chambered in 40. These went out of production and they've come back. So they've brought back the 96. There's a version of the 96. I think it's called the 96A1 that's available. So the 96 is back in 40 caliber, which is interesting because a lot of manufacturers are moving away from 40 caliber. These are reliable. They're comfortable to shoot. They have double stack capacity. It looks like a single stack mag, but it actually is double stacks, just the way it shows the, you'll see it alternating 12-14. It just doesn't have the alternating witness holes. So you've got a kind of a 1911 size gun with the capacity. And the magazine that would actually go with the one that's in my hand is the same design. It just has a little bit less capacity because of the 40 cal. But you've got a 1911 size shaped gun that actually has double stack capacity and has since its inception. Now, it doesn't work like a 1911. It's not a cocked and locked gun. It's meant to be hammered down with the safety on, or theoretically with the safety off, your choice. But it isn't meant to be cocked and locked because the safety operates like a decocker as well. It's got a very smooth, turn the safety off on it. It's got a very smooth, relatively light considering double action. And then if I thumb it back, like all DASAs, the trigger comes back. It's got a little bit of take up and then a very short, very light, crisp break. It's a very nice trigger on these, and they're all very similar. You know, each one will be slightly different in its trigger, but the concept is it's got a very nice DASA trigger. This is one of those guns that probably set the standard for what a DASA trigger in a semi-automatic should be. Now, as the years have gone by, of course, the prices have gone up. Some of the early ones were relatively inexpensive in the 600-ish. And as they've gone up, you can get them now over 1,800 if you get the X series. Now this one here, that I got here, notice how easy that slide was to rack. This is a 22. And now this isn't a true Beretta in the sense it's not actually made by Beretta. It's made by Umarex for Beretta. Most of the 22 versions of a regular handgun are made by Umarex. But this has turned out to be a fun to shoot, reliable gun. It works just like the full-size ones or the full caliber ones, but it gives you the ability to shoot much cheaper ammo. Really non-existent recoil on this thing. It's just kind of a pleasure to shoot. Now it is a single stack. Trying to do double stack with rimfire is problematic. Some manufacturers have pulled it off. Most don't bother. It's just single stack. But it's a nice gun, and it's good quality. Umarex does actually make good quality when they focus on it. This is one that they've done well. I've had no trouble with it. I've really enjoyed it, and of course it's threaded as well. You get into the military versions of it. This particular one is not optics ready. The later revisions of it are. And this is similar to what was adopted by the U.S. military, which of course the U.S. military is no longer using the Berettas, but they used them for many, many years, had no problems with them, and eventually the fleet of them just aged out and they started looking for something new. Most of the variants have some form of Picatinny rail. Some are a single slot, some are multiple slots, but they all have some form of rail on them. Here's a 2-slot one. It's kind of an interesting design. So let me show you the internals of these. One of them is pretty much the same as any of them, so I'll just grab this one because it's right there. They're easy to take down. You lock them back, of course verify clear. Press the button on this side to allow you to pivot this down. Release the slide, comes apart. Don't pull the trigger or anything else. Really simple fire control group, which is unusual for DASAs. A lot of them have complicated levers and bars and everything else in here. It's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. This is an alloy frame, and really not a lot going on, but everything that's in there is well machined and well done. These have proven to be a reliable chassis. Semi-captive guide rod, so it doesn't want to spring apart, but it does come off of the guide rod. It's a metal guide rod. Kind of a unique locking mechanism, and sometimes it can be a little twitchy to get the barrel out to get it right, but it doesn't have your standard locking mechanism like a Glock or any of the others. It uses this pivot block and this locking pin to orchestrate the lock and unlock of the barrel, but it's proven to be quite reliable. And it does have kind of a unique feed ramp. It's wide and it's polished, but it's kind of just integrated into the mouth of the chamber. Rifling on these is always going to be conventional. It's well machined, nice, clean, sharp rifling. And there is kind of just a piece of a ramp on the frame. And you've seen this in other designs like this where they're kind of a continuation of this ramp. But this ramp really isn't meant to be the primary focus of how the round loads. This is more of as if the round gets a little cocked, it hits this and pops upward. It's predominantly meant to load directly from the barrel ramp. Putting it back together, again, it's just a little twitchy, but not difficult by any stretch of getting the right combination of the setting of those arms and everything else, but it's just a matter of wiggling it a little bit. Line up the guide rod. Any of these that don't have the full captive, sometimes it can be a little twitchy to get it through the hole, but the spring is light enough on these, it's fairly easy to do it. And then take the frame, line it back up, lock it back, release the arm, and you're back in business. Really easy to take care of. Of course, being designed as a military weapon, the concept is you're not going to be sitting at a nice table in an air-conditioned room with, you know, the cat purring at your side. You're probably going to be somewhere in the field and have to deal with it. The sights on these vary. This one has a 3-dot sight, but they're really small, reddish dots. They're a little bit harder to see. Of course, the sights are replaceable. On the rear, some variants have this fixed sight on the front. This is not replaceable. It's part of the frame. But if I go to, let's say, the M9A3 that I've got here, it's dovetailed and can be replaced. This one has bright 3-dot sights, but they're also night sights. So varies from model to model. Here's the 96 has bigger white dots, a little easier to see than that 92 compact, but it also has a dovetail sight, so it's replaceable. So it varies depending on the version you get. Of course, as you move more modern, you get more recent versions of these, you're going to have more of the features, optics ready capabilities, which none of these have, optics ready capability and stuff like that. As you get older ones, you know, your mileage may vary. So hopefully that was kind of fun and interesting with some eye candy for guns. Happy anniversary to Beretta. And beyond that, if you like our videos, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, click that bell up there to be notified if you do. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Rumble. We're pretty much everywhere. And thank you.